You're kneeling over the body of something that, an hour ago, could have killed you. A big cat, maybe. Or a wolf. Its eyes are still open. You're hungry. The kind of hungry that makes you stupid. And there is a lot of meat here, warm and free, just lying in the grass. And some quiet, ancient part of your brain says, no, not this one. You can't quite explain it. You'd happily eat a deer, a fish, a wild pig, but the animal with the claws, the animal that eats other animals, something in you flinches away from putting that in your mouth. And here's the strange part. It isn't just you. Across almost every human culture on Earth, on every continent, we eat the plant eaters, and we leave the hunters alone. So this is the question. Why does nearly every human being alive share the same rule about meat? A rule nobody ever sat you down and taught you. Why should you never eat a predator? The answer runs from the poison hidden in the food chain to a liver that can kill a grown man in days, and it ends somewhere you won't expect, with what it says about us. Start by looking at your own plate, because the pattern is almost too obvious to notice. Cow, sheep, goat, pig, chicken, deer, rabbit, duck. Almost every animal humans have ever farmed or hunted for food has one thing in common. It eats plants. It stands in a field and turns grass, or grain, or leaves into muscle. We are, overwhelmingly, eaters of plants. Now list the animals we almost never eat. Lions, wolves, tigers, bears, hawks, eagles, crocodiles, big cats of every kind. The meat eaters, the hunters, in culture after culture, they sit on a quiet, unwritten blacklist. We might kill them out of fear, or for their skins, or for sport. But we rarely sit down and make a meal of them. That's a suspicious pattern. When billions of people, separated by oceans and thousands of years, all independently land on the same rule: eat the grazers, avoid the killers. It usually means the rule isn't really about taste or taboo at all. It means the world itself has been quietly teaching everyone the same lesson. So let's follow that lesson down, layer by layer. And it begins with something you cannot see, taste, or smell. Every living thing carries a little bit of poison. Traces of heavy metals, industrial chemicals, natural toxins, picked up from water, from soil, from food. In any single blade of grass, the amount is tiny, harmless. But watch what happens as you move up the food chain. A blade of grass has a trace. A grasshopper eats thousands of blades of grass and keeps their poison. A small bird eats hundreds of grasshoppers and keeps all of theirs. A hawk eats dozens of those birds and keeps everything. At each step, the toxins don't get used up. They get stored and passed on and concentrated. Scientists call it biomagnification, and it means the poison of an entire ecosystem piles up in the bodies of the animals at the top. You have probably already been warned about this without realizing it. It's the exact reason doctors tell pregnant women to limit certain fish. A tiny fish carries a whisper of mercury. A tuna or a shark or a swordfish, a top ocean predator that has eaten thousands of smaller fish, carries a dose thousands of times higher. The higher an animal hunts, the more of the sea's poison is locked inside its flesh. So when you eat a predator, you are not just eating that animal. You are eating a concentrated summary of every animal it ever ate, and every animal those animals ate, all the way down. You're drinking the whole food chain in one bite. But poison like that is slow. It takes years to build up in you, decades to do its damage. If that were the only danger, hungry humans would probably have ignored it and eaten predators anyway. The trouble is, a dead predator has faster ways to kill you. And the first one hides in the richest, most tempting organ in the whole body. The liver is where the body stores certain vitamins. And in a meat eater, one of those vitamins builds up to a level that can be lethal. It's vitamin A. In a plant eater, the liver holds a modest amount. But a carnivore spends its whole life eating other animals' livers and organs, and the vitamin A stacks up, and up, until the animal's own liver becomes something close to a poison. We know this because people have eaten it, and died. Arctic explorers learned it the hard way. There are grim, repeated accounts of men who, starving on the ice, killed and ate the liver of a polar bear, or their own sled dogs, and within a day or two fell horribly ill. Splitting headaches, blurred vision, vomiting, and then their skin began to peel off in sheets, sometimes down to the raw layers beneath. On one Antarctic expedition, a young explorer named Xavier Mertz died on the return journey, and one leading theory is that it was this: vitamin A poisoning from eating the livers of the huskies they'd been forced to kill for food. Think about the cruelty of that. You are starving. You finally get meat, and the single most nutrient-dense part of it, the part your body is screaming for, is the exact part that can kill you, precisely because that animal was a hunter. A grazing animal's liver would have saved you. A predator's liver ends you. Then there are the passengers. Predators are walking collections of parasites, and for a deeply logical reason. A parasite's whole strategy is to ride from one host to the next by being eaten. If you're a parasite, the best possible ride is inside an animal that regularly eats a lot of other animals, because every meal is a chance to jump into a new body. So meat eaters accumulate parasites, the way the ocean's top fish accumulate mercury. The most infamous is a tiny worm called trichinella. It coils up inside muscle, waiting. Eat undercooked meat that carries it, and its larvae burrow out of your gut and into your own muscles, where they cause fever, agony, swelling, and sometimes death. And which animals are the classic carriers? Bears, wild boar, big cats, walrus, meat eaters and scavengers, animals that ate other animals that carried it. A pure grass eater almost never passes this on to you. A predator very well might. And it goes beyond one worm. As a rule, the closer an animal sits to you on the web of life, the more it lives on flesh, the way you do, the more of its germs are already adapted to survive in a body like yours. The diseases of a deer struggle to jump into a human. The diseases of another hungry, meat-eating mammal have a far easier leap. Eating predators means inviting exactly the parasites and infections most ready to make a home in you. Now step back from the danger for a moment and just do the arithmetic, because it's the final nail. There's a rough rule in ecology. At each step up the food chain, only about 1/10 of the energy carries over. A field of plants can feed a big herd of grazers. That herd can feed only a handful of predators. It's why lions are rare and antelope are everywhere. The pyramid narrows brutally as you climb. That same math is why we farm the animals we farm. A cow eats grass, free, abundant, growing everywhere, and turns it into meat. That's a good trade. But to raise a predator for food, you'd have to feed it meat, its whole life. You'd have to grow or catch a mountain of other animals just to make one lion-sized meal. Nobody ranches tigers for the dinner table, because the numbers are insane. The cheapest, most efficient meat on Earth has always come from the calm, plant-eating bottom of the pyramid, never the top. And finally, there's the simplest reason of all. Predator meat generally tastes bad. It tends to be tough and stringy, sour and strong, soured further by a life of stress and adrenaline and a diet of other flesh. Given the choice, humans reached for the tender grazer every single time, and slowly built that choice into custom, and taboo, and the quiet flinch you feel standing over that dead cat. But here's the turn. That flinch, that near-universal human rule, it isn't really a human invention at all. We didn't come up with it. We inherited it from the entire living world. Because predators mostly don't eat other predators either. A lion will kill a rival, but rarely dines on it. Wolves don't hunt wolves for food. Across nature, the top of the food chain is a place animals kill each other for territory or safety, almost never for a meal. The same 3 walls we ran into are the walls that hold the whole pyramid in shape. At the top, everything is toxic, everything is expensive, and everything is dangerous. The poison has concentrated, the calories have thinned out, and your prey is something with claws that fights back. So the rule you feel in your gut isn't culture, and it isn't squeamishness. It's the shape of life itself, pressing down on you. Energy, poison, and risk all pile up at the top of the world. And life, everywhere, has learned to feed from the bottom instead. We eat the gentle, the green, the things that never fight back, for the exact same reason a shark ignores another shark. Which leaves us with something strange to sit with. We are the most dangerous predator this planet has ever produced. Nothing hunts us. We sit alone at the very top of every food chain we touch. And yet almost the entire weight of our species, every city, every civilization, all 8 billion of us, is held up by the most peaceful layer of the living world. By grass and grain and rice and wheat. By cattle and chickens and fish. By the patient, defenseless bottom of the pyramid that never once bared a tooth at us. The apex predator of Earth survives, in the end, by eating almost nothing that could fight back. Our power doesn't feed on other power, it feeds on the calm. So here's the thought worth carrying with you the next time you sit down to eat. The single most fearsome animal that has ever lived stays alive by depending, completely, on the gentlest things around it. And if that's true of what we eat, quietly, every single day, without ever noticing, then it's worth asking how much else about our power works exactly the same way.